Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Windcharger. Let's get into it! Let's begin with a look at the packaging. And here on the top, the Transformers, the movie, Windcharger. He's an Autobot, of course, Takara Tomy. A little bit of a window right there for no good reason, really. Transforms in 12 steps. Nice window here showcasing the figure. Some nice artwork over here of robot and vehicle mode. Transformers Studio Series. The Transformers, the movie, Autobot Windcharger, Hasbro print. On the bottom, small print, fine print, legalese print, made in Vietnam print. Symbols I'm not going to learn, and includes figure and 2 pieces. Not to be confused with accessories. So there's some nice artwork of Windcharger in his robot mode. Autobot Windcharger, Transformers Studio Series, the Transformers, the movie. Back on this side, some artwork there of Autobot City getting ransacked by the Decepticons. Autobot Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class. And then finally on the back, the Transformers the movie, and then there's a piece of the poster. Autobot Windcharger. Windcharger uses his magnetic powers to fight the Decepticons. Really? I had no idea. So then here's some nice, I want to say it's practical photography, but knowing Hasbro, it's probably digital renders. But has a nice background there. And then here it's showing the vehicle mode can use the accessory piece too. Transforms in 12 steps. More than meets the eye, authentic. And then here we have small print, fine print, legalese print, made in Vietnam print. Warning! Don't stick things in any language pie hole that do not belong there. And don't give it to babies. Here's a barcode and assortment numbers and Hasbro print. And that, my friends, does it for a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure in his alt mode and his accessories. And here we have handy dandy tweezers to help us take a look at the accessories. And first off, we have his laser blaster. And it looks like it could blast some lasers. It's got 2 slots in it there, 1 on each side. Oops, there I go dropping it. And then it's got a post on one side here. And it does have nice molded details. They're pretty simple, but you know, they're supposed to be cartoon based, so nothing wrong with that. Here we have his magnetic field. Looks like it's, I guess, done in, trying to go bumping the camera all over the place. Done in a clear plastic, and maybe this is paint, or maybe they injected some coloring into some parts of the plastic, but it does, that kind of throws it off a little bit. And then there's 2 posts on this side for connecting it up to different parts of the figure. And the last accessory, of course, is the handy dandy instruction manual. And there on the front, it's got a nice illustration, probably a digital rendered illustration of the character Transformers Studio Series, the Transformers the movie, Windcharger. He's an Autobot. And then on the inside, it does have nice, clearly printed instructions. It's not, you know, horrible paper that it's printed on. It's not glossy paper either. So something to be aware of. These may degrade over time, but you know, So, and then it does have coloring on the parts that are supposed to be manipulated in order to transform it, just like most modern Transformers do. So here he is in vehicle mode. I have to say, I think the tires are a little big, but that kind of is a throwback to the original toy. The tires on that one were kind of big. He was kind of short and squat, and you know, in the vehicle mode. I do think Power of the Prime's got it, the vehicle mode, a little better, but you know. So we've got some blue plastic, translucent plastic for the windows, the louvers on the back, some silver paint apps for the hubcaps. It's got a nice Autobot tampo right there, and it lines up pretty good. And then we've got a nice silver paint app there on the front for the grille and the headlights, and then Visible Robot Syndrome on the bottom. But you know, who's going to be looking at the bottom? But you know, overall I have to say it's a pretty nice rendition of Windcharger. I do think the robot mode is better, but we'll get to that in a minute. So you can store the accessories in this mode, and his magnetic field, this lower piece hooks right in to the front. It doesn't fit the best. I mean, it's okay. This one fits better than in robot mode to me. It's a little bit tight in there, but we'll get to that. So that's how you store that. And then the gun, those slots I showed you earlier that are on either side, there's some tabs on both sides, so you can pick either or. I couldn't get it to turn backwards like it was a tailpipe though, but this is how the instructions show it going forward. And with that on there, it doesn't, maybe I got it upside down. Let's see if it will go backwards. Not really. There we go. That's a little better. So with the accessories on, when they're on correctly, he still rolls pretty good. So there is that. So you know, the high tires do help with that. But again, I just think it kind of looks a little off with that. But there you go, my friends. That's a look at the figure in his alt mode and his accessories and storage. It's time for alt mode comparisons. And here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Windcharger with the Transformers Power of the Primes Legends Class Windcharger and the Transformers Combiner Wars Legends Class Windcharger. For our last set of alt mode comparisons, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Windcharger with the Transformers Titans Returns Legends Class Bumblebee and the Amazon exclusive Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy Earthrise Leader Class Alternate Universe Optimus Prime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the comedy portion of our show where I attempt to transform this Transformer. So the first thing you want to do is take the accessory pieces off. So that's pretty simple. And then you want to disconnect the windshield piece, I think. Well, dang it, that's how I did it before. And yeah, I did transform it one time. So there you can see that's kind of... I know why it's not doing it, because you have to unclip it down here. Duh. And then the whole piece folds back. Man, I'm so good at transforming Transformers. Nobody does it like me. So then you want to take these back tires, and they're on a hinge right here, and you rotate those in, and then I guess you can separate this, and there are posts and tabs, and there's slots and stuff for those to go into. So then fold that down, then you fold that down, and then it's a hinge right here, and this all folds in here, and there's a tab right here, and that's how that goes. You do the same thing on the other side. Fold, 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 and tab. So there we go. There's the lower half. And for the upper half, you have to untab the, oh wait, I'm starting at the wrong place. First you have to untab this, and it's on a double hinge right here. So you move that up a bit out of the way like that, then you can untab the arms easily, and they're on a hinge system here and here, and they just come down, and just move them down till they stop like that. Then just flip the hands out like so, and then this last part, it's hard to see, but there's a little slot right here in the middle, and there's a tab right here, and so you take that double hinge and get it up there and just push it till it snaps into place. And I know that sounds horrible, I don't like it either. And there you go, my friends. Windcharger all transformed. Now let's take a look at the figure and its accessories in robot mode. The accessories, you know, we all covered that already. So let's take a look at the figure, and then we'll get back to the accessories and how they work. So I think he's got some nice colorations and sculpt work there for the face, and of course his head is just that kind of trapezoidal look. It's got a nice red Autobot tampo. At least I think it's a tampo. Yeah, it's a tampo, and it's on a raised sculpted piece there as well. And then, you know, he's got some paint here and right here in the crotch, and a little bit of paint right here. And then on the back side, not really a whole lot going on other than the hood tampo. Everything else seems to be molded in the correct color. Now let's take a look at his articulation. So he doesn't look up and down, he doesn't waggle, no chicken neck. He does do the full exorcist though. At the shoulders, he can raise his arm up that high, and if you wanted to, you could manipulate these hinges to make it, you know, come up to his head, but that looks kind of goofy. So it rotates 360 degrees, and it's on a ball joint, so it does have a little bit of rotation up there. It does have a swivel just above the elbow, 360 degrees there, and then a hinge at the elbow that gives you right about 90 degrees, I would say. And then there's nothing really in the wrist other than a little bit of down, but that's due to transformation. So there is that. At the waist, does he have a waist? Yes, he does. 360 degrees worth of rotation at the waist. At the hips, and it's a little stiff there, but he does give you 100% of the full splits. He can, wow, kick way forward. Take that, you dirty Decepticons. And then back as well. Wow. Like a donkey kicking Decepticons. So that's cool. Now, he does have a knee right here. It's super, super stiff, though. And, dang it. It's very hard to manipulate without removing some pieces. But it gets you, well, not removing pieces, but untransforming them a little bit, I guess. So you get that much bend out of his knee. Let's put that back into place maybe. So then he's got another hinge down here. So I guess this is supposed to be the ankle hinge, and he's got like a really huge foot. So you get a little bit of back and forth with that without, you know, untabbing. And maybe that's not really supposed to be an angle. Maybe it's just supposed to be for transformation. But you do get a little bit of up and down. And then he does have tilt. So look at all that tilt. That is like 90 degrees worth of tilt. But it only goes one way, my friends. Now, as far as the accessories go, the gun, of course, can go in his hand, and it's a real tight fit. So he can hold his hand, he can hold his own hand. Well, maybe. No, this one can't. So, and then his electromagnetic blast here. So you use the other peg, the bigger one, and it goes right into this slot in his chest. And there he goes. He's magnetizing stuff. And there you have it, my friends. That's a look at the figure in his robot mode. It's time for my favorite part of a Transformers review, robot mode comparisons. And here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Windcharger with the Transformers Power of the Primes Legends Class Windcharger and the Transformers Combiner Wars Legends Class Windcharger. For our last set of robot mode comparisons, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Windcharger with the Transformers Titans Returns Legends Class Bumblebee and the Walmart exclusive Netflix War for Cybertron Trilogy Earthrise Leader Class Optimus Prime. For final ramblings on the Transformers Studio Series 86, the Transformers the Movie Deluxe Class Windcharger, I will have to say I do like his robot mode a lot better. I do think it's a lot more accurate to the animation like it should be. And the alt mode, you know, I don't remember his alt mode from the cartoon, just from the original toy and the recent toys. And, you know, I can see where it the wheels kind of emulate the original toy, because the wheels on that one were kind of big, but you know, it was a kind of a super deformed vehicle anyway, like, you know, most of the mini bots were. So for me, the alt mode is just a little bit off. I feel like it should be a little bit longer and sit a little lower to the ground, but again, that's just me. Your mileage may vary, but you know, that's really my only complaint, or major complaint, I guess, about this figure. The transformation seems to be really easy. The feet are a little weird, though. It's like he doesn't always want to stand flat on his feet, so that's weird. The gun does fit in his hand nicely. It is super tight, though. I'm not the biggest fan of the magnetic effects piece. I'm glad that they included something with the figure to you know, emulate that he has that ability, but I don't think they colored it all the way through like they should have. And you know, it does fit a little tight too. The head, I would have liked a little better. You know, I would at least liked a little look up and look down, and maybe not any side to side, but you know, it's fine like it is. I suppose it's Windcharger, and it's the best Windcharger I think that Hasbro's ever done overall. The Power of the Primes Windcharger, the Legends Class Windcharger, you know, I think it really hit the mark on the alt mode, but the vehicle mode was a little bit off. I mean, the robot mode rather was a little bit off, and this one, I think, you know, it hits all that like it should. It's a nostalgic piece, and you know, it fits in with the other deluxe mini bots, whether it doesn't matter what line they come from, whether it's Age of the Primes, you know, all those deluxe class mini bots, Legacy, the 3 Legacies, the War for Cybertron. So, you know, it fits in there, and we're almost there. So, pre-orders went up for Outback at Walmart. Unfortunately, it was just at Walmart. So hopefully that works out. And then, you know, regular Age of the Primes pre-orders for Swerve, who's a repaint retool of, I keep wanting to say Huffer, it's not Huffer, it's Gears. And an all-new mold for Power Glide. And then so all they have to do is repaint, retool this mold and give us Tailgate, and we are pretty much done with the deluxe class mini bots. And I know some people want a cliff jumper on that 86 Bumblebee mold. That's not my favorite. The robot mode is okay on that one. The alt mode, I guess it does harken back to the animation, and it really feels more like the original toy to me. I probably wouldn't pick it up if they do an 86 cliff jumper on that mold. It really just depends. But, you know, I'm perfectly fine with the Earthrise cliff jumper. I think that's an excellent cliff jumper figure. But as far as this one goes, you know, I'll say this one is like 80%. To me, you know, the alt mode could have used a little bit more work and maybe a little bit more articulation in places. Maybe not. But, you know, the transformation, it's smooth. It's pretty easy. It won't tax an old guy like me to do it. Some people might find that not as fun as a more complicated transformation, but hey, he's just a deluxe class, guys. But that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each of you does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.